Sensitive topics warning. Please be advised that this story contains themes that may be distressing for some viewers, particularly those who have experienced or are sensitive to topics related to depression, loss, and supernatural elements. The narrative explores emotional and psychological distress, as well as encounters with the supernatural that could evoke unsettling emotions. Viewer discretion is advised. If you find yourself struggling with these themes or feel triggered by the content, it's important to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Consider reaching out to a mental health professional or a trusted individual for support. Remember that self-care is crucial, and it's okay to avoid content that may negatively impact your mental health. Your well-being is of the utmost importance. Amelia's phone buzzed urgently, its glow cutting through the darkness of her room. The call from her friend Emma sent chills down her spine. "Please, come over. Something's wrong." Concern etched into her features, Amelia grabbed her jacket and rushed to Emma's house. The neighborhood was silent as a tomb, the air thick with a foreboding weight. "Thank goodness you're here," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I had a fight with my dad again. It was bad, Amelia. I was so angry and hurt. I decided to leave the beach house and run back home alone." "Alone?" "Emma, that's dangerous," said Amelia, a heavy sigh escaping Emma's lips. "I know. But in the heat of the moment, I didn't care. I just needed to escape." For the next 4 days, they hung out, cooked food, and talked. Despite their attempts at normalcy, an unshakable feeling gnawed at Amelia. Sometimes, Emma's reflection seemed distorted, as if her presence in this world was wavering. One evening, while they watched a movie, Amelia noticed something disturbing. Blood trickled down Emma's forehead, staining her hair. She gasped, but when she blinked, the image vanished, leaving her questioning her sanity. Nights were the worst. At 2 a.m., like clockwork, Emma would rise and shuffle to the closet, her sobs echoing through the house. 10 minutes later, Emma would come back to sleep with no explanation given. On the 5th morning, Amelia woke to a frantic banging on the front door. It was the neighbors. But when she turns to Emma, she wasn't there. Amelia's heart raced as she stood in the shadowed doorway, the neighbors' accusatory stares piercing through the silence. "We've been seeing lights on and off for days," one of them said, their voice laced with suspicion. "After what happened, no one should be in there." The police arrived, and with a sense of urgency, they worked to breach the sealed entrance. The chain that locked the door from the outside had to be broken. As the door creaked open, Amelia's breath caught. How had she gotten into this house? Why had she been living here for days? Inside, the air hung heavy with an otherworldly stillness. Every step she took felt like a journey through a distorted reality. Memories of laughter, shared meals, and whispered secrets echoed through the halls, but something was deeply wrong. The police revealed that 6 days ago, a violent argument had erupted within the family. Emma's father had snapped, committing the unspeakable act before taking his own life. The timeline aligned the day Amelia received the distressing call. Amelia's mind raced, struggling to comprehend what she had experienced. The call she had received, the sleepover that never was, the distorted reality she had been trapped in. The house had been locked from the outside, the deadbolt engaged. There was no explanation for how Amelia got into the house. Amelia's pulse quickened as she entered the kitchen. A surreal sight met her eyes. The food they had prepared, cooked, and eaten together was rotten, as if weeks had passed since their last encounter. A nauseating wave of realization washed over her, a truth she couldn't ignore. Sickness gripped her stomach, and Amelia barely made it to the hospital. Doctors couldn't explain her condition, attributing it to an inexplicable ailment. In the darkness of her hospital room, sleep was elusive, replaced by fevered dreams that wove a tapestry of sorrow and eerie encounters. Each night, Amelia found herself in a realm that blurred the lines between dreams and reality. In her fractured slumber, she conversed with Emma's spectral form, the boundaries of life and death bending to accommodate their encounters. Emma's voice was faint, a whisper on the wind, her words laden with gratitude and sorrow. Upon her release from the hospital, Amelia's steps led her to the cemetery, where tombstones stood as solemn sentinels of the tragedy that had befallen Emma and her family. The wind whispered secrets only Amelia could hear, carrying a sense of presence that defied the physical realm. Tears fell as Amelia's hand brushed against the cold stone, the weight of her friend's absence pressing against her chest. "Thank you for being there, Amelia," a voice seemed to echo in the breeze. "I'm sorry for what you endured." Amelia knew she was alone, yet the memory of those days she spent with Emma remained etched in her heart. The boundaries between the seen and the unseen, the living and the departed, had blurred. As she left the cemetery, a lingering feeling danced on the edge of her senses: Emma's presence in the wind, a connection that transcended the veil between worlds, an eternal bond forged in the heart of a sleepover gone wrong. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows over the haunting scene, one question remained unanswered. Who had Amelia really been staying with those 5 nights, in the company of the restless dead?